How do you see that the community's attitudes to HIV have changed over the years? And how do you see it today versus how it used to be?
Things have changed in a big way through education. TV's been a massive support. Every program on TV's got someone that's gay in it. And that subliminally has helped, I think, in change attitudes, regardless of the political spectrum, which is worldwide changing anyway.
Now in Perth, we're finding the acceptance levels are growing and we can go to places without fear. So the sense of community hasn't become as important as it was back in the early days.
It has changed, and even though it's changed, I think we still, some of the messages that need to be told are still necessary to be told.
Being a younger person, my experiences with being exposed to HIV are very limited, especially considering the history of HIV in the past. But obviously there's a lot of information out there in terms of all that. So as a younger person, you're very much informed about the history of HIV and the pure devastation that it caused in the queer community, especially amongst gay men in the 80s and 90s. It's just awful.
What does an end to HIV in WA look like for you?
It's a possibility that can happen with a greater responsibility from everybody concerned.
I grew up in the era when the Grim Reaper was indicative of how unknown and scary the disease was. So to see an end in HIV, it would mean that ghost, that problem is gone.
A world of no worry and no stress and I guess freedom. So
I think an end to HIV is, first of all, awareness, second of all, education, and third of all, open and honest. It's a society where we don't treat it like a disease, but more like a situation, where this is the situation I'm in, there's an answer for it, and we need to enact that and not put that negativity on people.
In terms of community, and the gay community in Perth particularly, how do you see yourself fitting into the community?
For me, the gay community in Perth's been a massive help. I hit my own brick wall about 15 years ago, and I just couldn't go on. I thought, I can't do this. If you're ostracised and outside, you die. It's a pack of wolves. You have to be part of the pack and you get support, and that's how it's been for me. My friends are great. I think the world of them. And it's extended family and it's real, and you're still here, Mark, and you know, it's great.
I see the gay community in Perth slowly becoming more blended with the heterosexual community. We're moving towards a situation where we shouldn't need to differentiate as something separate. We should be seen as a more cohesive and blended part of society, like you would have with people from different races or different cultural backgrounds as well.
I do see myself as part of the community, not as much as I used to. I think the gay community, a lot of people say it's not as necessary, for example, to have gay venues anymore. And to an extent, that's true because it is a bit more acceptable these days.
In a way, I do see myself engaging with the scene, but also not engaging with the scene and engaging in the community in very different ways. This year, I enacted a role at Murdoch University as their queer representative on their student council. And I feel that's a very positive way in which I engaged with the queer and gay communities of Perth.
HIV testing is not necessarily an easy thing for anyone, and it's an experience that we try to encourage as much as possible. What are your thoughts about HIV testing in 2014 and what does it mean to you?
For me, it's changed a little bit over the years. I remember when I first did it and I was very apprehensive and uncomfortable with it. Waiting for those results wasn't a good process. It was very nerve-wracking with the possible implications that could take place. But through the years as well, I've met many people and I've got really good friends that are HIV positive. And things have changed in a big way since the 1980s.
It's sort of like we need to sort of bring it into people's minds as a checkup, like you would normally do with your GP or something like that. You would and should do that once a year if you're smart about it. And HIV testing, along with any other STD or STI testing, should be the same principle, same method.
Well, it is a tough one, and I know a lot of people that are scared to get tested I think obviously we need to promote it more and make it look like a, you know, that it isn't a scary thing and that it is necessary, because I find gay men these days reluctant to get tested, and at the same time they're also not educated a lot on STIs, HIV, and I think that's kind of what's fallen behind over the last couple of years, in my opinion.
Whether we're talking about homosexuals or really anyone else, that yes, you need to be safe, you need to use protection, these things happen regardless, and you may wake up one day and find out that you've got HIV, and it is a hard thing to deal with, and while it is a situation, that's a point that you have to come to on your own terms. You can live the rest of your life in fear and with shame about HIV, and at the end of the day, if the people that you go see who diagnose you and who treat you for this have a rather sterile or not friendly attitude towards the whole thing, I believe it makes the process that much harder to deal with.
What does a world look like for you without HIV?
There'd be a lot less heartbreak and a lot less pain and suffering, and people's lives would be better quality without that extra stress.
I would see a lot less discrimination on that basis. At the moment, there's stigma, there's pain, and there's still memories, I think, of how much of a disease this really was and how it decimated the gay community. To see this gone, to see it eradicated, would be a big step forward in history, I think.
I have never imagined that as a reality, but I mean, I know that we're getting closer, so I hope that it does become reality, and I hope that for myself as well, I don't have to worry and can just be free.
To me, a world without HIV is a world where I'm not defined by an illness or by anything other than who and what I am.